request all of you to stand up. We are going to do something. We keep talking about it, but we are calling it the daily pledge for the Anthropocene era. Something that we should do. So put your hand up. I solemnly swear that I will try to do my best to create a better tomorrow. Without any further ado, it's my pleasure and privilege to invite Deepangata Chattopadhyay, the Chair, CEO and the moving spirit of IKP Knowledge Park, to set the stage and get us started. Deepangata.
Every time we look at a relevant problem where we can brainstorm with all of you to see how to go forward. And we picked up this topic, making positive impact in the Anthropocene. Because what else is more important when the discourse is moved from climate change to climate action and climate management? What are we supposed to do as supporters of innovation, as enablers of innovation, and all those who are in the process of creating new solutions? I strongly believe we have a role to play. This conference is all about you all, innovators and creators of new paradigms. It is not about technology, it is about you, the power of the people.
We'll have a first plenary keynote address today, right now. I would like to invite Vinod Tailyani, the CFO of Reliance BP Mobility Limited, talking on the energy transition challenge.
The scale of the challenge suggests that greater support, greater ideas, greater innovation is required to make sure that we are able to tackle this challenge and to facilitate, for example, quicker processing, approval of low carbon energy infrastructure. Also, it's very important to realize that this is not something which can be solved at a global level. The challenges and the answers are very specific to each country. We in BP, we prepare an energy outlook every year. We look at this from the point of view of trying to plan our own strategies for a range of outcomes that could occur. Define these as three scenarios: new momentum, accelerated, and net zero. In summary, I would say I believe India is uniquely positioned to make this transition to cleaner energy with all our efforts, while continuing to provide affordable energy for upliftment and development of our people. And we are proud to partner India on this journey, bringing our experience, technology and global scale.
It is my pleasure now to introduce the next speaker, who's going to talk about democratizing access. I would like to welcome Sharad. Sharad Sharma co-founded the iSpirit Foundation, a non-profit technology think tank that has been conceptualizing the India Stack, Health Stack, and other digital public goods.
Defining challenge of this era is climate and climate change, and what do we do to deal with it. And perhaps you could say the other defining element that will drive change in our lives is AI. First is, everybody in the world will be a user of AI. There's no doubt about it. So the question here is not whether India will consume AI, which of course it will. The question is, will India create AI models, produce AI models as it goes forward? Can we be like what we have done in space? Can we be one of the 5 countries in the world that can send satellites to space? What is the path forward is to empower our startups to be able to compete. So the question is, we have to create an ecosystem. The problem that we face when you define this as an ecosystem problem, which is the discussion that we have in IKP all the time, is that our conviction that we can create an ecosystem that will produce a circle of 5 winner. In other words, there'll be only 5 companies in the world that will be meaningful players, and one of those 5 companies will be an Indian company. For that, you need to create an ecosystem. So you need an ecosystem to create a national champion. So the question then comes up is, our track record in India for creating national champions is not very good using the ecosystem approach. And why do I bring it up is because the role of IKP is to actually be a player in building the ecosystem. I am a big believer in Panga entrepreneurship or Panga ecosystem creating. Because that Panga, how many of you know Panga word? If you don't take Panga, you're not going to do anything at all. Because how can you be in circle of 5 if you're not thinking of Panga? It is a Panga by definition, right? So if you have to take Panga, and I can tell you I would bet today there is a 60% chance that India will break this cycle. Because this realization is emerging that we must do something different. Doing more of the same is not the answer. And if you see this announcement in the next 6 months or so, make a bet on India becoming an AI ecosystem for the world.
Thank you, Sharad. That was inspiring. If at all, one thing that all startups and all of us can take is take Panga. Challenge the status quo. Right now, we are going into an exciting session, and this has got stories of impact for a better planet. That's what we are calling it. I would like to invite the panelists. It will be a panel discussion. The moderator for the panel will be Dr. Jayashree Ratnam. She is the Director of Wildlife Biology and Conservation Program for the National Center of Biological Sciences, NCBS. So my privilege to call Nelson Vadaseri, co-founder and CTO of C6 Energy. I would like to invite Dr. Sarika Gupta. She is an assistant professor. After 22 years in the academic, she said, let me do a startup for a cleaner and greener India. I would like to invite Rukmani Kapoor, Chief of Staff at GPS Renewable.
Basically, from a number of, metrics, including the fossil record and a whole number of other data points, they have traced the history of Earth and the way land on Earth has transformed in the past 300 years. The Anthropocene is of particular relevance in the Indian subcontinent because we have dramatically transformed every part of the subcontinent. And with that, I want to take it to the panelists. Like I said, we need solutions, and the 3 people on our panel are all people who are in that space, who are thinking about solutions to the kind of problems the Anthropocene has posed.
For me, my personal definition of sustainability is, can we live today with today's resources, not by borrowing from the past and not screwing up the future? And if you want to do something which has this scale, a planetary scale, right, a change at a planetary scale, we need that. And that's when we said, hey, can we farm the ocean? Started as a stupid question, can we farm the ocean? Historically, where most of science and R&D has happened is in countries like the US and China and Europe. And the stuff we have here does not grow in those waters. So, and if you look at the tropical belt where this grows, we are like one of the most advanced countries in that space. So it was an opportunity ripe for the picking.
As a microbiologist, hardcore, I always find that there are so many problems what the industry are facing, and it is the responsibility of the academia or the academic research to solve those things. So we step in that whatever research we are doing from past 2 decades. So we're like, how can we do the translation of the product? AIC Banasthali step in, and they actually give a hand-holding support. An organization like IKP, we've been long associated with IKP, mentoring and all those things. So we like that we can bring it to reality. So now presently we are developing green technology industrial solutions for textile industry, and we have developed a patented technology that can basically detoxify and treat the textile industrial effluent, which is very high on dye and toxicants.
The GPS actually is a full stack biofuels company which works in biofuels. Like what we mean by full stack is on all the layers of a biofuel project, which is technology, design and engineering, execution capabilities, R&D, software layers. So we work on all the layers of a biofuel project.
This plenary session, constrained as a source of creative possibilities, will delve into this through a fireside chat and a panel discussion. The topic of the fireside chat is responsible construction, creating a new paradigm. The construction industry is among the major sectors that contribute significantly towards emission of greenhouse gases, which have a major impact on the climate change and is responsible for about 91% of overall greenhouse gases. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Anjan Mitra and Dr. Vinod Gupta.
The construction as a whole, and that is how I find that the topic of this today is that responsible construction, because we are not taking any responsibilities as far as the construction is concerned. We always think sustainability is a concept. Sustainability is in the thinking process. Sustainability cannot be with a material.
So my personal experience is that by making things more efficient, this does not change. But if you can change things in such a way that human behavior changes, that is the thing which makes it possible for us to achieve our objectives.
We now have a panel discussion with innovators who have used constraints as an inspiration to develop innovative products. So for this, I would like to invite our moderator of the session, Dr. Janvi Falke. Janvi Falke is a founding director of Science Gallery, Bangalore. Our panel includes Mr. Gaurav Parchani. Gaurav is a co-founder and CTO of Dozy. Our next panel member is Ganesh Shankar. Yeah, please come onto the stage. Ganesh is a serial entrepreneur in sustainability and clean tech. So our last panel member is Rajkumar Madan Gopal, a visionary leader. He is currently making significant waves as a co-founder, CEO of Banyan Nation. So welcome all of you, and over to you, Janvi.
If we want to reimagine our relationship to nature, as Jayashree hinted quite strongly in the morning, then we need new knowledge, we need new partnership, but we also need an honest public dialogue about uncertainty, incompleteness, and the tenuousness of the knowledge and products, therefore, that we hold. And I think this needs to be understood better and better in order for us to understand both constraints better, but also the consequences of these ideas that we hold much better.
Banyan today is considered a pioneer in the circular economy space in India. I mean, over the last decade, Mani and I have built an organization that has focused on solving India's garbage problem, and specifically the problem of plastic pollution.
So what we essentially believe is that this will affect business continuity risk to industries. This means financial risk and compliance risk to actually run their operations, right? And industries are in massive and imminent risk because of water crisis. And just like how water as a liquid is transparent and clear, we make the data of water transparent and clear and build solution on top of it to reduce water consumption by up to 30%.
In a nutshell, what we do is we have these proprietary contactless sensors that go under the mattress, don't even touch the user at all, and capture all the key biomarkers: heart rate, respiration rate, blood pressure, and other physiological parameters.
We'd like to start with an announcement of a new partnership for IKP. As some of you might be aware, IKP is entering into a partnership with Montgomery County, Maryland, United States. We're going to be formalizing the partnership through a memorandum of understanding today. And this MOU is going to enable IKP affiliated companies seeking to enter and access US markets with a lot of support, and similarly it will also be a bridge for companies in Montgomery County to partner with IKP affiliated companies.
We are very interested in opportunities, and the reason we're here is to expand trade relations between India and between the United States, particularly in tech fields, pure tech and also biotech.
The credit goes to BIRAC because we discussed in the BIRAC stall, the entire India map is there. So it's easy to explain them what we have and what are our strengths, and immediately I introduced them to ma'am, the Panita ma'am, and today it's a reality. And a lot more to work, Mark and Judy. Thanks a lot.
And then in the second plenary, we engaged with the counterintuitive thought that constraints can be sources of creativity. And now we're all set to explore the possibility of partnerships. This is actually a fairly important aspect of the whole thing, because we're talking about the challenges of Anthropocene. When we talk about that, we usually use words such as planet scale and global. So it means two things. One is, of course, it refers to the massive scale of the challenges. But the second thing, it also indicates that boundaries are not very relevant. When we're talking about changes in temperature or pollution.
I thought I'd talk about today is a kind of challenge that all of us, or all savanna ecologists working across the globe seem to face. But I'm going to be focusing a little bit on these nature-based solutions. And one nature-based solution that seems to have, that seems to be all the rage right now is tree planting to sequester carbon from the atmosphere, right? And this has led to many initiatives like the Trillion Trees program to plant 1 trillion trees across the globe. For many of the people, that trees are good and a forest is good, but a grassland is bad. And this is something people have done a survey, and it's called biome awareness disparity. It's not just here. Globally, people seem to value forests more than grasslands. And how do we change that? Because unless you change that, we're not going to be able to sort of address these issues that impact biodiversity. To think about where these trees are going to be planted, right? And if it's planted in the right place, then that's great.
Now I'd like to call upon Dr. Ashish Nimgaonkar. Dr. Nimgaonkar is a physician scientist, entrepreneur and educator. He is founder and chief medical officer and chief of R&D at Glycin Therapeutics.
When it comes to innovation in biomedicine, it's really hard, right? And by definition, innovation requires interdisciplinary crosstalk and collaboration across different aspects of research and development. So no matter how promising a collaboration is, it is essential to build that relationship and address potential failure points very early on in that partnership. Because at the end of the day, we are, as individuals, are only one drop, but together we make the ocean. And so it is critical that we have a shared vision and alignment as we execute on a goal which is for the greater good.
This is an important moment. In some ways, in the global startup policy, this is a watershed moment because until now, G20 has had only one group that represented businesses called the B20 or the Business 20. Going forward, there will be two groups representing businesses. B20 that will represent the large corporations, and Startup 20 will represent startups and the SMEs. This is the first year in G20's history when startups have written a policy recommendation for the world leaders.
If we have to talk of one institution in India that has shown the power of partnerships for building innovation, it is BIRAC.
I think the international standards are expanding at a very great accelerated pace. You have now AI embedded into fermentations and all, digitalization across. I really feel that if we have to come to the standards of say Samsung Biologicals or Celtrion, we may have to have some collaborative board or engaging with them, bringing them to Indian scenario.
Meeting, we said the regulator sets the standard, but ab initio,
setting ourselves up for global standards is the other aspect that one should look at, and not merely meeting the bar.
In fact, if you look at, say for example, people talk about cultured meat. I mean, at one point, 2 years ago, it was considered to be a very attractive technology for alternate protein. But today, a lot of people come back and say probably its greenhouse effects are as bad as what it was to be with the animals.
Biotech 2022 annual report. I don't know how many people have read the Biotech annual report. I want to see how the really top of the line biotech companies planning their business, and annual report actually is very detailed. They started in 2008, in 15 years, they had an IPO in 2019. Now they are present in 5 international locations. This is the time our startups wait, because the awards will be declared.
A part of this very important annual flagship event, Ikmc, and very glad that day one has gone off very well. Congratulations to all the awardees, all the award winners once again.
IKP is interested in life science, but the monthly incubator meeting is across the domains.
Science and technology cluster. So we are currently a Government of India initiative.
We have one student-based startup called Abhyom Space Tech. They are building India's first reusable launch vehicle.
Incubator from hospital, LV Prasad.
Experiential water is what we can see, feel, drink, taste, all of those things. And we use it for, whatever purposes we have, basically cleaning more than anything else. We drink very little, but clean, wash, clean, and so on. And it amounts to something like 180 liters in a city which is well serviced. This is the Indian standards, now reduced to 135 liters in many places per person per day.
Day after the COVID lockdown announcement, IKP started a program called ICO Fund, and they are one of the recipients and did exceptionally well.